Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism, Mr. Wade Mars, Executive Director of the Tourism Product Development Company Limited, TPDCO, distinguished presenters, teachers, students, members of the media, friends joining us online. It's a pleasure for me to greet you this morning as we engage your youngsters in very important conversations about tourism and their future careers. This is coming at an opportune time as we gradually emerge from 2 years of battling a pandemic which crippled the world. We have come a long way, and I believe it is safe to say Jamaica's tourism sector is on the rebound. It was only 3 weeks ago when the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, our Minister of Tourism, indicated that we were almost back to pre-pandemic levels, with record weekend arrivals of close to 35,000 visitors coming into the island through the Norman Manley and Sangster International airports. There have been announcements of increased airlift from American and Frontier Airlines. And since March 14, we have the cruise ship Marella Explorer 2 home porting right here in Montego Bay. Workers are returning to work, and in some instances, employers are indicating that they have unfilled vacancies, which create opportunities for others to get on board. But how does one climb the tourism corporate ladder? What are employers in the industry looking for in the ideal employee? And what is this talk about stackable credentials and HTMP certification for advancement? And what new careers are emerging in the sector, giving rise to a need for different skill sets? What does the future hold for health and wellness tourism, coming out of a pandemic which cost millions of lives? And what are the linkages of agriculture to the tourism sector? These are some of the questions that we will attempt to answer over the next 3 hours with the help of a panel of experienced and knowledgeable experts, and of course with your input. We invite you to ask as many questions as you would like at the appropriate time, right here, and of course online. Feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I'm excited, and I hope you are too. So if you're ready, let's talk tourism under the theme Diversifying Skill Sets for the Evolving Tourism Industry. But before we get into the meat of the matter, let's do our roll call. If you're online, please place the name of the institution or the organization that you represent in the chat. And for those of us on location, I want to hear you make some noise when I call your school's name. Now, we're here at the Montego Bay Convention Center, and I'm not seeing too many of our schools represented here, but I do know that the Montego Bay Community College is in the house. Make some noise. I think we have Cornwall College here as well. I saw a Lone Ranger in the back. Lone Ranger, are you from Community College? From Cornwall College? The Community College as well? Irwin High School. Okay, and who do we have here? Irwin High School as well. All right, well, I see a number of persons coming in. I believe they're running a little bit late, but we'll hear from them later on. We are expecting the Herbert Morrison Technical High School, University of Technology, Irwin High, Cornwall College, Mount Alvernia High, and all of that. So I'm hoping we will have a full house. And I know we're growing online. We hope that the areas that we cover today will open your eyes to the possibilities and to new opportunities as the industry bounces back. I encourage you to listen keenly this morning. And we begin with our Executive Director of TPDCO, Mr. Wade Mars. Let's welcome him at this time. Mr. Mars is joining us from Kingston. Except I'm not hearing Mr. Mars.
To open our minds to possibilities. Honorable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism, Tourism Partners, teachers and students gathered at the Montego Bay Convention Center and online, members of the media, good morning. I'm excited to join in on this activity, as I believe moments like these can help to open our minds to possibilities we never knew existed, possibilities that could set the tone for the rest of our lives. It's a great day, so let's talk tourism. The TPDCO prides itself on being passionate about teaching and instigating change within the tourism industry. Our programs have assisted many service providers to enhance their delivery and improve their offerings. We ensure that the human resource which is most valuable is always ready to perform at an optimal standard. This is made possible by the skill sets in our organization and those of the other public bodies within the ministry, which shows the interconnectedness of the sector and communicates the importance of a diverse workforce. Tourism, as a leading and multifaceted sector, requires input from all areas and many types of stakeholders. As students, with your knowledge and forthcoming expertise, you will in short order occupy many of these roles, which is why we feel the need to help you to prepare to bring value to our industry. We implore you to apply the knowledge and with your own skills and talents, take charge of opportunities that will allow you to excel in your respective fields. Take the chance and seize the moment to get your thoughts out. Network with our leaders and teachers and make this a step towards a fruitful future. Although this is only a small window, make it count. Welcome one and all and enjoy the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mars, or Executive Director of the Tourism Product Development Company Limited. It's time to meet our Honourable Minister, who is a committed and smart working man of many parts. Did you know he recently launched a book that he co-edited with the Executive Director of the Global Tourism Resilience and Crisis Management Center, GTR-CMC, Professor Lloyd Waller? It's entitled Tourism Resilience and Recovery for Global Sustainability and Development, Navigating COVID-19 and the Future. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me to welcome Honourable Edmund Bartlett, Minister of Tourism.
Good morning, students, teachers, and partners of this exciting forum being hosted by the Tourism Product Development Company, TPDCO. Let's talk tourism under the theme Diversifying Skillsets for the Evolving Tourism Industry. Our tourism change makers are witnessing an evolving industry, one that is coming out of a period of great uncertainty, one that is changing through new technologies and advances brought on by the need to be resilient. We cannot be onlookers, and as students today and leaders tomorrow, you will need to be adequately equipped for the challenges ahead. As we continue to restore the tourism industry, it is vital that our future leaders receive insights on the happenings within the industry. I'm sure that as you make plans to move to the next phase of your lives, information and experience is at the forefront of your minds. Thank you to the teachers who continue to impart knowledge and skills and help to set the foundation for the rest of your lives. The responsibilities of being an educator is an elite position. As teachers, you oversee and take charge of molding young minds, and for that, we should really applaud you. To the students, I admire your due diligence to participate in enriching and life-changing activities, and your willingness to engage with tourism professionals who can share their experiences with you and provide sound advice. I'm sure you have witnessed the surge in tourism. Following the setback of the last 2 years with the COVID-19 pandemic, we are now seeing flights and cruise vessels returning to the island. Our numbers are increasing, and there is a greater sense of normalcy we had in the pre-pandemic times. The lesson is that hard work and persistence can in fact reap rewards. For although we battled for 2 long years, we continue to be resilient. It was, and still is, the determination to restore livelihood in the country's leading sector that allows us to forge ahead for an even bigger and better sector. I encourage you then to listen and speak up and out as you make bold career choices. The opportunities presented today have the potential to drastically change your lives, which we know will be for the best. As young, impressionable minds, knowledge is one factor that can set you apart, and moving with alacrity and clarity will provide opportunities for growth. The tourism sector is an innovative and ever-changing industry. With your input and your pending contribution, we are looking forward to even more successes and sustainability. Once again, I impress upon you to participate wholly. Absorb the information that will be presented by tourism experts. Get answers to your questions. And when you leave, if you see yourself somewhere in this sector with all its linkages and new and exciting opportunities, act upon the information provided. Enjoy the day's proceedings and all the best in your endeavors. Thank you.
And thank you, Minister Bartlett. We appreciate that you always make yourself available to us and the future leaders of Jamaica. Our panel discussion is up next, but before that, I feel a little generous this morning. I'd like to give a Team Jamaica scholarship to one person in the audience who can tell me the theme for today's program. And all you have to do is raise your hand if you know the theme for today's program, and you have an opportunity to win for yourself a scholarship to do our Team Jamaica program. Do we have anybody who wants to try? Nobody knows the theme for today's program? I said it earlier, Minister said it just now. Got to be listening, because if you're not listening keenly, you're going to miss out on a lot of prizes that we have for you today. Until then, let's welcome the members of our first panel. Is somebody wanting to answer? All right, I think there's a microphone right there, except there is no microphone on it, so just shout from where you are.
Diversifying Skillsets for evolving tourism industry.
All right, we're going to give it to you, but it's for the evolving tourism industry. And you're from the Montego Bay Community College, and you know of the Team Jamaica program, right? Okay. All right, so congratulations. A winner from the Montego Bay Community College. But we're meeting the members of our first panel right now. We have a lady who is tasked with implementing the Human Capital Development Strategy of the Ministry of Tourism through the Tourism Enhancement Fund. She oversees the certification of tourism workers as well as students in colleges working on degrees in hospitality, tourism, and culinary arts. She collaborates with local and international organizations to provide internationally benchmarked, innovation-driven, and industry-led programs with the aim of transforming Jamaica's workforce and enhancing the competitiveness of Jamaica's tourism industry. Let's welcome Ms. Carol Rose Brown. She's going to be joining us remotely. She's the director of the Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation, JCTI. Give it up for Ms. Carol Rose Brown. And joining Ms. Brown is a man who is convinced that the bedrock of an advanced and highly developed society is effective training and education. He holds certifications in training and human resource development, a bachelor's degree in hospitality management, and a master's in business administration. He has served the industry in a wide range of positions, from food and beverage manager to group training and development manager, and then some. He's an adjunct lecturer. He sits on the National Council on Technical and Vocational Education and Training, NCT VET, Hospitality Standards Committees, and is a director of the Customer Service Academy of Jamaica. He is presently the Director of Human Resources for the Couples Resorts Group And you know something? He aspires to be a trailer driver and a DJ very soon. Let's give it up for Mr. Floyd Burchell. All right, well, DJ Alric is in the house, so we're going to pair you up later on. Our final panelist has over 20 years' experience in Jamaica's hospitality industry. He's a published author, a certified hospitality trainer, and a certified quality assurance professional. He's a Tourism Service Excellence Awards, that's a TSCA National Champion for Jamaica in the individual category for 2018, as well as the 2019 Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association Manager of the Year. In 2020, he was awarded the Governor General's Achievement Award for the Parish of St. James for outstanding accomplishment and leadership. A holder of 2 master's degrees, he is a mentor and coach, among other things. Put your hands together and make welcome Conroy Thompson. All right, so I think we're off to a good start. And I want to say welcome, gentlemen, welcome, lady online. It's so great to have you this morning. We want to start with you, Conroy. You know, you've been through the ropes, as they say. You've been climbing that corporate tourism ladder. And I want for you to share with us the presentation you have prepared for us. But I also want to fast a little bit in your business. What was your first job in the tourism industry?
I will say that tourism, I did not choose tourism, tourism chose me. And as we go through the presentation, I am weaving in my story in the presentation so that persons can understand that is not where you start, you know, but it's the resilience to really build and to persevere against all odds to make it work.
All right, well, go right ahead. We're all ears.
All right. So the presentation, I just want to make sure.
I believe your presentation is already in the mix. So,
all right. It's there. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So when I got the theme, climbing the corporate ladder in tourism, I immediately went back to my first job. The year was, and I'm going to date myself now, 1998. And there was a small property in Trelawney that, you know, they were looking for somebody to work in their front desk. So I said, okay, let me try. I mean, I was fresh out of high school, did a year of college, but because of financial reasons, I could not continue. So I said, let me just try and see what happens. So I applied. But this particular job was one job for 2 people, meaning there were 2 of us at the end of the month that was going to, one of us out of the 2 would have been hired for the job. So we were pitted against each other from day one. So the first thing I'm going to really talk about is our personal traits. One of the things that stood out for me in that very first job was the fact that I had to have a positive attitude. Yes, I wasn't sure about, you know, what tourism was or what it was that we were expected to do because we were so young. What I knew, though, from that point in time was that the attitude had to be positive to make it work. The next thing that went hand in hand for me was being respectful. So because my grandmother grew me and, you know, it was always, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, that translated even on the job. Another thing, I was eager to learn. So I was very trainable. My brain was like a sponge because here I was, you know, thrust on the front desk, but I also had to learn night auditing. I also had to learn to be a telephone operator. I even had to learn how to be a housekeeper because it was one of those small properties, so you had to be flexible. So I had to be trainable. Another thing about me was my level of inquisitiveness. So I saw people doing sales and marketing, and I'm like, that sounds nice. And what does that mean? What is it that, you know, how does that translate into really building yourself? So of course I jumped into that. But one of the biggest traits that will always supersede for me anything else is being honest. That is something will always be tested, especially in the hospitality industry. And I'm talking now to the younger ones coming in. You will find yourself in situations where you are either A, left with somebody's money, or B, have to do something with someone that is questionable. Always choose honesty above everything else, because your integrity is what will follow you throughout this industry. So there were two things that I quickly needed to do as I moved from that small property into now a larger property. I was thrust into guest relations coordinator, yes, at the time. But it was like it was a department by itself. So I had no manager and I had no one reporting to me. So it was kind of like a standalone. And I had to quickly learn how to be independent and how to develop skills that would help me in the long run. So one of the things I want to pass on to you as it relates to your skills development is cross-skilling. Cross-skilling is learning skills other than the core that you are called to do. This way, you are able to perform other things. So yes, I've learned how to handle guest complaints, but in learning how to handle guest complaints, I also learned event management, which took me into that scope of being a wedding planner for 10 years. Then it moved me into doing group sales. I moved into front office. I moved into reservations. I learned how to maneuver myself based on cross-skilling. And learning multiple areas will help you to be marketable. All right? The next thing that I learned was upskilling. So yes, I learned how to cross-skill very well, but I did not want to stay on the same level. So when I go in front of like a HR director, why should they now promote me to a manager? This now takes in your ability to do some additional courses. There are courses that are offered through TPDCO, through Heart Trust NTA, through Montego Bay Community College, among other institutions. I know that Mrs. Rose Brown will speak to the certifications, which are very, very important. So you upskill yourself so that when you go in front of a HR director, and yes, you have the years of experience, you can now marry that experience with the theory, which really, really works. Coming down to the close. As I moved through my years in the industry, I know that I had to define the goals that I have and stick to those goals. So what is that end goal that you're working towards? When I started, as I said, I did not have the goals. But as I moved in, I noticed that, okay, this is an industry that I want to serve because I love to serve people. So how do I now become a servant in the industry without becoming subservient in my attitude, right? So I seeked out opportunities for growth that aligns with the goal. I showcase the skills that I have every chance that I get, and I underscore my work with excellence. I always will say this, even if you're going to school, if you're doing your exam, if you're doing your papers, whatever it is, underscore your work with excellence. It is as if you're handing somebody your business card when you do what you're supposed to do. So, how do we then tie up this conversation? One thing that I've learned in the past 2 years with this pandemic, become a solution. There are challenges everywhere around us. Align yourself in such a way that you're an answer to a challenge, so you now become a solution. And that way, you do not now only think the industry only, or you don't think about the property that you work for, or if you're working in the other areas, You don't only think about that or yourself. Now you think Jamaica on a whole as a destination. Because when brand Jamaica goes out there, positively or negatively, it affects us one way or the other. And we have to become that solution that will help to propel Jamaica in the positive light. And then finally, which is a mantra for me, whenever I do a post, I always end it with, I learn, so I teach. It is always good that as you soak up information, you make sure that you pass it on to somebody else, because that's how you create your legacy. And not only your legacy, but legacies for others to come. Because we all need mentors, one way or the other, and we all can become one as well. So develop the people who are around you. As future leaders and future managers, ensure that as you grow, people around you grow as well. Because for me, a well-developed team is the easiest team to lead. Thank you so much.
And thank you. Thank you very much, Conroy. Underscore your work with excellence. So important. Now we're going to just hop across to Kingston City at the Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation, where we're going to hear from Carol Rose Brown, the director. And of course, we invite you to make a note of the questions that you may have for any of the panelists, because we will come back to you a little later on and you can pose all of your questions. But let's just hear from our panelists first. So over to Carol Rose Brown, who is in Kingston City.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I am delighted to be here. The opportunity to talk to young people who are thinking about careers at this time and who are interested in our business, tourism, always makes me happy and joyful. So if we put up my presentation, as Marlene said, my name is Carol Rose Brown. I work for the Tourism Enhancement Fund. I head the division tasked with human capital development. And my job is to ensure that our workforce is readied and capable of delivering the high touch, high quality service that our industry requires, and that has put Jamaica's brand out there in the world. So, presentation, please. Do you want me to share my presentation from here? Ah, there it is. Next slide, please. In the Ministry of Tourism, we have implemented a 5-pillar plan for sustainable development. This has become even more important in light of what has happened in our world in the last 2 years. I hear one or two people talking about going back to the normal. There's no such thing, young people. There was a time before March 2020, and there's a time after March 2020. And our job is to make sure that in the period after March 2020, we are ready to move forward. A significant part of that is going to be connected to human capital development. That is to say, the degree to which we are ready to deliver on the promise of Brand Jamaica. Next slide, please. We have 3 jobs. The certification of students, current students, and recent graduates studying hospitality, tourism, or culinary arts. Our second goal is to facilitate the certification of workers in the tourism industry. And our third job is to facilitate the certification of the faculty required to deliver these certifications. And we are therefore working with workers who may not have been in school for the last several years, current college students, current high school students who are wanting to enter the sector. And of course, we have to prepare the tutors who are going to deliver this training and certification. Next slide, please. Now, what is certification? When I talk about certification, I want to talk about certification to start in tourism. Our certification program depends on whether you're a worker or a student. If you are a student in college and you're interested in becoming, say, a certified hospitality supervisor, this process will take 3 months. And at the end of the period, there's an exam. If you are a worker in the sector, this certification process could take as few as 3 weeks. And again, you take the exam and the results speak for themselves. If you are in high school and you're taking one of our certification programs, this will take the place of the upper and lower sixth experience in grades 12 and 13. And this will take 2 years. So it really will depend on the certification you are going after. And that, of course, will explain how long the period is or how short a time the certification will take. Next slide, please. Now, who is eligible to be certified? College students, as I said, studying hospitality, tourism, and culinary arts. High school students who wish to enter the tourism sector. We are interested in every single person who loves our business. And we want to start early. We want to provide teachers and guidance counselors in high school with the information to encourage their students to think about tourism as a career. And of course, we want to talk to the department heads in colleges to again help them encourage their students to go into tourism. Next slide, please. Now, who needs to be certified? That young person you see with a stethoscope has a bachelor's degree in medicine. In order to become a doctor, he has to do 2 years of internship under the guidance of a certified physician and then take the boards. Those nice lawyers you see, after having a bachelor's degree in law, they then have to go to the Norman Manley Law School in Kingston at UEMONA, take a period to study for the bar and practice on a certified attorney. And then they take the bar exams, and when they pass it, they become lawyers. That is true for nurses, plumbers, engineers, accountants. In fact, any single person who takes his career seriously understands that certification is a requirement. That's just how it is. And we in tourism, because we are really now beginning to take what we do seriously, because people are beginning to understand that what we do is serious business, we also are beginning this process of encouraging everybody wanting to be in our sector to pursue certification. Mr. Thompson spoke about that earlier. Training and certification are key to giving you the tools to getting that promotion you want, to making your path up the ladder. Next slide, please. Now, why are we doing this now? We're doing this because right now, believe it or not, despite the fact that we have just gone through 2 years of the pandemic, our country is set to add about 15,000 hotel rooms. You may not know this, but Trelawney is about to become the parish with the greatest number of hotel rooms in Jamaica. We have to find people to work in these industries, in these hotels. The rapid development of the accommodation sector requires a whole array of people. We need engineers. We need architects. We need accountants. We need persons with who understand environmental science to manage our beachfronts. We need nurses and doctors and managers and persons who know human resource development. We need persons who can understand logistics. We need people who understand international marketing. All of these are tourism-related jobs. So what I want you to go away from here knowing is that tourism is not simply about serving drinks or making beds. Tourism welcomes every single kind of person you can think of who would like to work in any kind of industry. That person can find a place in tourism. The current shortage of workers we are experiencing is an indication of our need for new staff, new trained, certified people ready to get into the sector. Next slide, please. Our partners. Our partners are, we have local partners and international partners. Of course, the JHTA, Hard Trust NSTA, the NCT VET. The NCT VET is important to us because any certification we provide has a mirror image of an NCT VET certification. So in other words, each one of the persons we certify has two certificates, one from the certifying body and another from NCT VET. Then we collaborate with the Joint Commission on Tertiary Education, that is the local association of colleges and universities, because of course we're very interested in working with college age students. We work with the Jamaica, J. Ray and Nephew Academy, and we work with them because we are interested in bartender certification. We're interested in bartender certification because when people come on vacation, they give themselves permission to drink a little more than they would normally do at home. And of course, this puts an enormous amount of pressure on the bartender, who not only has the job of pouring international brands and managing his boss's responsibilities in respect of protection of his inventory and sanitation and that kind of thing. The bartender also has, believe it or not, some responsibility to the people sitting at his counter drinking and to watch to see that they don't hurt themselves or hurt other people. So bartenders are very important. And of course, another of our local partners is the Ministry of Education, with whom we work to deliver the HTMP and other programs in the Ministry of Education. Next slide, please. Among our international partners are the American Culinary Federation that certifies chefs. Now, let me pause here. A cook and a chef are not the same thing. A cook is somebody who knows how to make really nice tasting meals. A chef is a person who understands nutrition, sanitation, the business of supervision of his staff. He understands how to explain to his boss about the return on investment for his restaurant inside of this hotel or whatever, wherever he finds the restaurant. A chef is a manager. A cook is a level 1 entry-level person, and we are interested in certifying chefs. The American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute is our major partner, another major partner. They help us provide certification in management of tourism, middle management, food and beverage management, executive housekeeping, hospitality training, hospitality supervision, those kinds of issues. And of course, Smith Travel Research helps us do analytics certification. We are introducing to college students who are taking hospitality and tourism, we're introducing them to the Certified Hotel Industry Analytics course, which we believe every student graduating from a local college in hospitality or tourism needs to take this certification. And we really want you to write to us and talk to us about that certification. Next slide, please. Now, how can you help? If you're a college student, please go and speak to your department head. The certification is available to you free of cost. Absolutely free of cost. And we are doing this because we want to ensure that there is a ready, trained, certified population ready to deliver on the promise of Brand Jamaica. If you are interested in being a chef, again, go to the department head and speak to your department head and say, listen, I'm interested in this. Please call Carol Rose Brown at TEF and tell her I am interested in joining the next cohort of candidates wanting to be a chef. If you are a high school student, again, speak to your department, to your guidance counselor, and indicate that you'd like to do a hospitality and tourism program from the Tourism Enhancement Fund. And again, ask your department head to contact us at the JCTI. We'll have an email up on the screen in a couple of seconds. Next slide, please. Now, what are the certifications we offer? For high school students, we offer the Certified Hospitality and Tourism Management Program. For the young people in college, we offer a Certified Hospitality Supervisor, Certified Culinarian, Certified Pastry Culinarian. Those other certifications below Certified Pastry Culinarian require additional years of experience, so that will not be available to students. The certification in hospitality in hotel industry analytics is available to college students, and certified bartender is available to anybody over 18 who has a food and beverage certificate. So please think about these kinds of certifications, what kinds you might be interested in, and talk to us. Next slide, please. Now, what you have there is where we are, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, and you see our email address, jcti-certification@tef.gov.jm. Please call us. These certifications are available to you completely and totally free of cost. And we really want to invite you to join what we believe is the biggest industry on the planet, bigger than motor vehicles and oil. Believe it or not, there are countries now in fossil fuels who are transitioning into tourism. This is really important. There are opportunities all around the world. These certifications that you have are not only valid in Jamaica, but they are transferable anywhere at all in the world you present them. They'll know what they mean. And we really want to ensure that you have these credentials that make it possible for people to know who you are and what you are capable of doing. Like Conroy said, your reputation, your skill set, your attitude, all terribly important to being able to get up that ladder. Thank you all. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Marlene.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carol Rose Brown. Let's give her a round of applause. A lot of information there to chew on, and certainly something available for everyone at whatever level you find yourself, whether you're a high school student, a college student, or you are already in the tourism workforce. And you know what is so important and so good about this? It's free. FOC.
Exactly.
You can't not take up an opportunity such as this. It is free. JCTI-certification@tef.gov.jm. I'm giving you that address again because she's saying, call us. We are ready and waiting. All right, time is against us, so we're going to just go quickly to Floyd Burchell, our Group HR Director at Couples Resorts. And then we're going to take your questions after. Just hold them, make a little note, jot them down, and we'll come back to you. Floyd, you have 7 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay, good morning, everyone. Yeah, so I just want to start with a little video clip I want to share with you of the chairman and owner of Couples. What motivates me to share this with you is he talks about the history of the company, which is linked to the history of tourism in Jamaica, and also to see the impact we have on visitors that come to our island.
Welcome to Couples Resorts Jamaica. The key to our success is our people and the exemplary service we provide our guests. My father, Abisa, was one of the early pioneers of Jamaica's tourism, when in 1949 he opened a year-round resort called Tar Isle Hotel, Ocho Rios. Let me explain. Back then, it was only the rich and famous that could afford to travel. So the hotels would open in the winter and they would close in the summer. My dad went to the airlines and says, look, cut the airfare, we'll cut our room rate, and we'll attract teachers, nurses, and secretaries. And they did that. And that was the beginning of year-round tourism. In 1978, my father pioneered the first fully all-inclusive resort in the Caribbean when he converted Tar Isle to Couples Ocho Rios. We continue to lead with innovative ideas and serve guests with unmatched service. It's truly what sets us apart. Today, with members of my family and a very talented and dedicated team, we continue to build upon his ideas and refine what we offer to guests at our 4 resorts in Ocho Rios and Negril. The true measure of our success is guest satisfaction. Each of you, in your many different roles, will directly contribute to our success. You will see that we take every opportunity to add personal touches to each facet of a guest experience. In everything we do, we aim to exceed expectations. You will soon find that our guests are tremendously loyal and call Couples home. In fact, Couples guests are among the most loyal. We celebrated the Pennycams from Pennsylvania and their 93rd visit for more than 1,000 nights with us. Their loyalty and that of all our guests speaks volumes about our legendary properties, world-class amenities, and 5-star service. It is not just our guests who are loyal. Our talented staff is extremely loyal as well. We have employees who have been with us in varying capacities for more than 20 years. I expect that you will be among our most experienced and long-serving staff before you know it. Once again, let me welcome you to the Couples family. I wish you continued success and thank you for joining us.
Yes, so that's Mr. Lee Issa, chairman, owner of Couples Resorts. And he made some very good point. By the way, just to emphasize, I was asked to, in my discussion, my presentation, to speak about what employers are looking for in employees. And we're living in a very special time. Employees today are not like when I was growing up. At age 15, I knew I wanted to be in this industry. And actually, it was in a forum quite similar to this one when I made that decision. And it was a career week, and I listened to persons from various industries. When I heard about the industry, what it offered, I thought to myself, oh my God, that's me. And I've continued, to pursue that path, worked in various departments, and my first very job in the industry was in the sanitation department. And then I became a cook and did many other things over the years, from income auditor, cost controller, night auditor, food and beverage, manager, you name it, hotel operations. So I'm sharing this with you to say that in my days, I remember we would make any sacrifice. And we really wanted it. We were passionate about it. But what I realize in today's world is that the millennials have a different approach. And it's important that you understand that even though many things have changed, technology and so on, this is an industry that offers incredible opportunities. But I want to talk to you about what is it, employers, what are we looking for in young people or whatever age who wants to become part of this industry. My mantra, and I think it is that of every or most HR professionals and managers, is to hire the attitude and to train the skills. Yeah? So that's the first thing we're looking for. People with great attitude. Now, the term attitude is very broad, so I want to narrow it down a little bit for you so you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. We want people who, first of all, have a great sense of pride in Jamaica. That's so important to this industry, that you realize that when you step out there, whatever it is you're doing in the industry, you do it with such an incredible sense of pride. And know that I am showcasing Jamaica. I am showcasing to you the best of who we are. We're honest people. We are people who have been magnified in the world. And so many people come here out of curiosity because they've heard about these wonderful people, Jamaicans, and this great culture. And we want to showcase it in a way that when they leave, they want to come back. And you've seen the video. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to show it to you. And Mr. Issa emphasized it. These are persons who come to the island, or to couples and many other resorts, over and over and over. He showed you the Pennycooks. Over 1,000 nights. They're 90 plus repeat visit. It didn't happen like that. It happened because we have caring employees. And that's one of the attitudes that we look for. We want to know that you're caring. And to be caring, you need to have a great sense of self-worth, self-esteem, because if you feel good about you, you will want to do things to make others feel good about themselves. That's key, fundamental. I have witnessed in my years in the industry, guests who came back repeatedly and then became very ill. Had a stroke. I remember one particular couple, she had a stroke, and everyone thought that she would have passed away. And when she came out of the hospital, the first thing she said, I want to go to Jamaica, to the property where she normally stayed. And they came from the UK, and after 2 weeks of being at the property, you saw the incredible difference. And the staff, they rallied around her. They did everything to make her feel good. And as soon as they went back home, the following month they were here again. And she recuperated in such a short time. You see, hospitality, hospital, is a helping industry. It's an industry that requires people that are caring, people with integrity, people who are honest. When our guests come here, they must not feel like they need to be worried about their things, and that when they turn their back, someone is going to snatch their things. So we want employees who are on the lookout. And when you see people who are not demonstrating the kind of attitude and integrity that we demand, you raise a flag and you say, hey, 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 you're not doing this to my country. This is Jamaica, you're doing that to. You don't belong here, leave. This country was, I feel so proud when I listen to Ms. Rose. She spoke about all the wonderful things we're offering. It's tremendous progress for Jamaica, incredible. And I encourage you to really take advantage of these opportunities if you have the right attitude, if you have the right passion. Mr. Issa made a statement, I want to close on that. And he said, our greatest asset is our people. The reason why we're so successful, it's our people. We invest a lot in people, the company with which I work, and you see that the government of Jamaica is investing a lot in the people to make this industry a success. It's the fastest growing industry in the world today. And we invite you, if you have the right attitude, come join us. Anything you dream of becoming, anything, you can achieve it in this industry. Do you want to be an engineer? We have people in our industry, even in the company which I work, that are chief engineers. Some of them have their degrees. Some of them came in without any degree at all. And they did the hard programs, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and are now chief engineers. We have people that are financial controllers who came in as cashiers and move up the ladder and are now professional accountants too with their ACCA. This is the industry where you can achieve any dream that you have. Just come with the right attitude. And that's what we're looking for. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Floyd Burchell, HR Director at Couples Resorts. Now, we've heard from Mr. Thompson, we've heard from Ms. Carol Rose Brown, and we've just heard from Mr. Burchell. Do we have any questions? Do we have any comments? Because this is where we get into our interaction. We want to have a conversation. We don't want to just be telling you the stories. We want you to ask the questions. And so there's a microphone in the middle here, and I believe there's one over here. The microphone in this one is missing, I think, for the time being. So we need one here. And then we're going to take your questions. We want to take your comments. I know we have teachers in the house. We have students in the house. We have persons who are members of the tourism action clubs in some schools that are here. In fact, since we've started, we've had a number of persons filling in. I think I see Montego Bay High School. I think I see Mount Alvernia High School. And I'm also seeing, I think it's Herbert Morrison Technical High School in the house. So do we have any questions? Do we have any comments? All right, we have a young man who is coming forward. And you don't have to be shy because it's just us. We're just talking. We're just having a conversation.
Morning. My question is for Mr. Conroy. I'm asking, how long did it take you to get into the position you are in now, and are you comfortable with that?
Did you hear the question? I'll say that again. Just go a little slower.
How long did it take you to get in the position that you are in now, and are you comfortable with that?
How long did it take you to get to the position that you're at now, and
are you comfortable with that?
Am I comfortable? All right, so it took me 20 years. It could have taken me shorter. However, I was very, very specific with becoming a rounded individual. It could have taken me shorter. But because my end game is not the position that I'm in currently, I had to take that route to become well-rounded. So I did the whole HR aspect. I did the operation side. I did the training side. I'm now a resident manager. My ultimate goal is to be not known as a property owner, if you understand what I mean, or to belong to a property. My end game, based on the fact that I want to make sure that I pass on to the next generation, is that I transcend a property and represent Jamaica in this industry. That's my end game. So yeah.
all right, thank you so much. Another question here?
All right, so my question is a little bit lengthy, but I'm going to add a caveat before I start. So I understand with the advancement in the hotel sector, the creation of jobs and training, that's excellent. And I appreciate the wide variety in the jobs that are being offered. But outside of the hotel sector, tourism goes outside of that. What are the plans for other areas of tourism, such as ecotourism, etc.? Within, it would encompass some areas of the hotel sector to provide jobs for persons that necessarily won't align specifically with hotels, for example, environmentalists, etc., within the tourism industry.
I'm not sure I heard the question very well. It was prefaced with some comments, but Floyd, are you able to take that?
Yeah, what I got from you is to know about other specific disciplines, like environmental. It was not quite clear, actually.
Apologies. All right, I'm going to restate it. All right, within the tourism industry, there are other sectors apart from the hotel sector that can apply for persons.
Maybe if we could just take the reverb down a little bit on the set, then we would hear you properly, because I'm having great difficulty hearing you.
Engineer, yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
All right, is this clearer?
Much.
Yes, it is.
Great. So within the tourism industry, there are other areas, for example, ecotourism, especially with the underwater parks and utilizing the landscape of Jamaica and other Caribbean industries. So outside of hotels and outside of hospitality, what is the advancement that the tourism industry is looking into for that sector that allows persons with different variety of skill sets that would not necessarily fit within the hotel sector to be able to go on this movement that the tourism industry is going into?
Okay, I think I understand.
Madam Chairman, why don't I attempt the question?
Thank you.
Go right ahead, Carol Rose.
The Tourism Enhancement Fund, as we speak, is very involved in environmental tourism activities. Mm-hmm. We are involved in preserving our coastline.
Okay.
We regularly fund students and projects involved in those areas. Mm-hmm. We support many of the agencies in the public sector involved in the variety of activities that affect all of our lives, whether it's supporting police stations, or it is cutting the grass along the verges, or it is providing support for cultural and other kinds of activities. The Ministry of Tourism is involved in all of those things. If you are a student in these areas, then you will know what it is that the Ministry of Tourism is able to do or is doing in those areas. So if you are interested in those areas, young lady, you need to speak to the people in your department, and they will be able to connect you to the kinds of projects the Ministry of Tourism has in those areas.
All right, thank you for that. Would you be adding to the questions? I remember that you were answering it before.
No, so there was a question.
Yeah.
There, I think from her to you, if you're what area you're interested in.
I am not actually in the area. I am a finance major, economics minor. I am just asking on behalf of certain persons that would have been in the area, because I'm from UTEC, but some of my cohorts are not here, so I'm asking for that.
Okay.
Right.
And of course, just to add that in terms of environment, most of our larger hotels actually have positions for persons who are in environmental sciences.
Absolutely.
Because we're talking about coastal management, we're talking about our beaches, we're talking about using grey water, finding mechanisms that can make us more cost effective as an operation. Even within TPDCO, the organization that I represent, we have somebody who's a coastal engineer. And when you look at the mix, this is a tourism organization, but when you look at the mix of skills and the different persons that are in that organization, you know, there are many different options for young people who are out there and who have a passion to serve.
Absolutely, and just to also state, you know, there are different subsectors. So I think a lot of persons, when they hear tourism, they only think of the accommodation, but there are other areas within the sector as well, you know, that will draw on the skills of anybody. You know, there are persons in the legal profession.
Yes.
Yes, we have lawyers who work with us. We need that.
There's tourism medicine now.
Absolutely. So,
And in fact, just to add to a point Berchel made, when he described what was needed in the sector, he began with engineers. And that is often not understood. Whatever a hotel can do without, it cannot do without its engineers. So these are the kinds of things that we have to say to young people over and over and over, so that it gets into their consciousness, because all the jobs, I think it was Berchel who said, any dream you have can find a home in tourism. Whether you want to be the world's smartest accountant or the world's most interesting designer, interior decorator, landscape architect, whatever it is that you have a dream about, you can foster and achieve that dream in tourism.
Yes.
Including environmental management and grey water management and all of that. All of those things are in tourism and are critical to the success of tourism.
yes.
All right,
And I think,
thank
Carol
you.
Rose, one of the things that I think Conroy mentioned earlier, which I would like to underscore, is that hospitality and tourism is not just about accommodations. That's just one subsector of the industry. And I certainly hope we'll have enough of these so that when you leave here, you can get a copy. It speaks about accommodations, food and beverage, adventure tourism, transportation, the travel trade. Expedia is one of the organizations that has really kind of exploded, and with the technology that is available, you go online and you see Travelocity, you see Cheapo, you know, all of these different things that are changing the way we do business. That's tourism. The attractions, you know, we have here.
Yes.
Are considered an aspect of tourism.
Yes, events and conferences, we're at the Montego Bay Convention Center.
That is true.
And we know that there is a major conference coming up in another couple of months. And this is going to bring people from all over the world. Are you an event manager, or do you think you have a role to play as a creative in this area? There's tourism services and so many different areas that you can find
but Marlene, but Marlene, even if you are a mechanic, let us say that you are interested in how engines operate. In the transportation sector, I mean, if you see that array of amazing double-decker buses that are rolling through the streets, moving visitors from attractions to hotels, from hotels to airports, etc., these buses need to be maintained. So there's terrific opportunities for people who are mechanics, who would not have thought of tourism as an area of work. But there it is. There are all kinds of opportunities in tourism.
And coming out of this pandemic, I was quite surprised, or perhaps not so surprised, to hear a couple of weeks ago when we had the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program graduation exercise, that some hotels, they need workers like now. They need workers because we also have to understand that some of the skills and the certification that Ms. Brown spoke about have portability. It means that a lot of our workers have also gone abroad, gone overseas, and these are, as they call them, stackable credentials, which are recognized worldwide. And so our workers are also themselves being wooed to go to other countries to provide the service there. So we really do need to continue to train up our own and to give them these credentials that if they wish to take their trade elsewhere, they can do that. And I mean, I heard Minister speaking as well, and he has no issue with that. He's saying we need to train and certify and continue to build a cadre of workers that can be world, that can perform at a high quality and high standard anywhere in the world. We have a question coming here. Thank you so much, my dear.
You have stated earlier that there is a lot of rooms opening up in the tourism industry. And say, I realize that...
could you just say which organization you represent, which school?
Miss Atkins from Irwin High School. I'm asking a question.
Okay.
We require job security in the tourism industry. But most of these rooms that are coming on board, these hotels are iron workers on contract. And what is being done to preserve the jobs? Because some persons want job security. They want to know they are there 20 years, 30 years. They want their pension and all those things. Most times you go to these hotels, you're only there for 6 months, you're evaluated and you're gone. Although Mr. Couples is saying that you must have the qualities and the attributes and stuff. What is there to protect the workers who work hard and toil hard and want to remain in the industry, but their contract said 6 months, after 6 months they go?
I think that's a reasonable question. Floyd, you could comment on that?
Sure. I know that that's an area that the government is looking at regulating some more. But what I do know is that most of the properties that tend to do that on a broader, more widespread level are the overseas hotels, particularly the Spanish ones. I can speak to the Jamaican properties in particular. Whereas we have a very small percentage, for example in couples, we don't have more than 30% of our staff that are on contract. And in some ways it helps us. It helps us in the sense that our contract is for 3 months and some maybe 6. But when employees come in and they are not exhibiting the kind of a behavior that is required to be successful, it helps us to make very quick decisions in terms of long-term employment.
Yes.
We make an effort to, as quickly as possible, so if we have, let's say, let's use the restaurant, for example. Let's say we have 70 employees in the restaurant that are permanent and 30 that are on fixed term contract. And we have 2, 3 permanent employees who may have moved on, then what we do immediately is to make those fixed-term contract employees into permanent. And it's something that we place emphasis on because we want our employees to start contributing as quickly as possible to the pension scheme. We're one of few companies that ensures that our employees are on the pension scheme and get all the benefits that are accorded to employees. So you find that there are people in couples who may be working there for 2 years, maybe as fixed term, but into their third year, they become permanent. Some after a year, because it depends on, how many people in the department that are on fixed term, and maybe 3 or 4, and then very quickly the opportunity comes up.
Madam Chairman, I wonder if I may put in a dime or so in this answer. Young lady, the teacher.
Go ahead, Carol.
The teacher, ma'am, you asked a most important question. And let me tell you what I believe the challenge we have here. Mr. Burchell spoke. He showed a really interesting videotape. I know you were watching it, so I know you see what the rest of us saw. Jamaica's tourism did not begin 60 years ago as an industry. And as a consequence of its beginnings, the development of the rules of engagement have lagged a little bit behind. In that period, tourism was seasonal. As Mr. Lee Issa pointed out, they closed their hotels in the summer and reopened in the winter. Since the middle part of the 2015s, 14s, that has changed. Tourism is now a 12-month activity. It is no longer seasonal. And as a consequence of this change, many of the historic behaviors have not caught up with this new situation. And as Mr. Burchell pointed out, the government is conscious of this. And I want to promise you that we are actively and expeditiously working on fixing this matter. One final thing, it's important to note that relatively, and I don't want to be defending the hotel sector in this regard, but I must. It is not that their entire staff is on short-term contracts. A relatively small percentage of their staff is on these 3 months or 6 months contracts. And like you, I think that is a problem. I think the problem that Conroy Thompson spoke about bears repeating. His first job in the hotel was as a front desk clerk, and he was competing for the job. Burchell also said that his first job was in sanitation. So we want to ensure that the people who come into the sector have incentive to stay. And so I want to assure you, I'm repeating myself, that the government is keenly aware of this distress and this concern of workers and why this situation will discourage people from remaining in our industry. And we are working to adjust to this. So give us some time. We are on it.
Yes. Thank you very much, Carol. And I just want to add that I don't know if everybody is aware in the room, that is, of the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme, which was recently launched, I believe, in January. And that, I think, is going to have a tremendous impact on our workers in the industry, because now this is a pension that is available to persons in the industry from 18 years old to 60 years old. And it has portability, which means if you move from one organization to another tourism organization, it doesn't mean that you stop paying pension. And the employer is expected to make a contribution as well. It is being managed by Guardian Life Insurance, with Sagicor is also a part of the whole arrangement. And I think that is going to really augur well for the sector. And it's something that I would like to say kudos to the Minister for and our Permanent Secretary, because they worked very hard and very long to get that. And it's perhaps, it's the only thing that is happening this side of the hemisphere, right? I don't think there's any other country that has a specific pension scheme for their tourism workers. So that is something I think is going to take us a long way. So teacher, just to throw that in. We have a young man here from, is this Cornwall College? Herbert Morrison, I'm so sorry. The Cornwall College guys are in the back.
This question is for Mrs. Rose Brown, and it is, what is the name of the 2-year course that is done at the high school level? And is it for high school 10 grades and 11 graders or 6th formers?
Carlos?
Yes, the course we talk about that we're doing through the Ministry of Education is called the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program. It is done in concert with between high schools and community colleges. It is a 2-year program, and it is available to young people in the 12th and grades 12 and 13. That is not to say that is not related to the other programs in tourism that are available all up through the grades. But this is a special program. It's new. It is available to young people in the grades 12 and 13. The goal here is to do a dual program. One half of the program is the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute certificate in the HTMP. And on the other hand, there is an occupational associate's degree in customer service focused on tourism. And when the students do this 2-year program, they emerge with 2 certificates, and we believe by the time that they should be then about be 18 or 19 years old, they should be ready for entry-level jobs in the tourism sector. So please talk to your school, especially if you are a member of a tourism action club, to consider having an HTMP program in your school.
Carol, you also have a guest services gold program, and I'd like to give somebody here this morning an opportunity to do that program, and I just want to ask them a quick little question. Who's the executive director of TPDCO? Name the executive director of TPDCO. Do we have anybody who knows that name? He spoke earlier on. For those persons who were late, you might not have met him on screen, but we have a hand going up there. Just scoot across to the microphone and tell me the answer.
He is Mr. Conrad Thompson. No.
This gentleman sitting beside me?
Yes. Sorry, it's Conrad Thompson sitting there.
He's the resident manager at the Round Hill Resort. I need somebody to come and tell me. Come on, man, you have 2 microphones down there, one to the left and one to the right. So come over and tell me, who is the executive director of the Tourism Product Development Company Limited? All right, well, we had a young man at the microphone, so we're going to take that final question before we move along. Go ahead with your question. And I know for those of you who have data, you're going to go look it up on the phone now, but that's all right.
This question is for Mr. Floyd. Since COVID-19 basically happened, right, and they have a drastic impact on the tourism sector, I basically asked if Couples Resort Jamaica have a backup plan for me and financially stable, and if they can provide for their employees as well, in case of another pandemic, God forbid.
He said something about a backup plan with the pandemic.
Right, financially stable. like this should happen again if you could sustain pretty much that's what he's asking.
Basically asks if you have a backup plan in case one neck.
There's another pandemic.
There's another pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Or another disaster.
I can't reveal our
Financial help.
confidential financial. but let me tell you though, it shook us like most companies, and I want to extend gratitude and congratulations to the government of Jamaica for stepping forward to help hotels to cushion this kind of a shock, because it was a real shock. And so what it has done, it has alerted the executive management of the company to put together contingencies to help us to be able to move forward and sustain ourselves more in the event of this situation. Our company did, and I'm telling you, we did a lot more for employees during the lockdown when we were closed than many other hotels. We extended ourselves to ensure that our employees were still taking care of their well-beings as much as we could. What it also did for us, because I think when I surveyed the market, that Couples was one of few hotels, maybe the only one, that did so much for employees. Incredible. I mean, if I should go through the list of all the things that we offered. And so what we had to do is to trim some of the areas, appeal to the employees to understand that right now we have to cut back on some of these things so we can restore, you know, our financial health and longevity. We are now beginning to be able to do some of the things that we used to do, but it has helped us to make better planning and forecasting so that we can sustain this kind of a shock treatment again.
Right.
If in the event that it happens again.
Thank you so much.
You know, I wonder if I may just stick in a little additional point.
Carol Rose, when you're sticking it in, please remember that you have 30 seconds to give a final comment because we're wrapping this segment to move on.
To make a point, talking about going forward and sustaining shocks. At a meeting recently, we were introduced to a bartender on a cruise ship who was a robot. I want to say that so it sinks in for like 2 seconds. I have 30. A bartender on a cruise ship who was a robot. While we are all of us making better financial planning decisions so that we can survive upcoming shocks, please remember that one of the shocks we are going to be facing is the impact of technology and how it is going to change how we do business.
Yes.
And young people preparing to operate in this digital, technical world are going to become critical components in tourism. I want to just encourage you, the young people, to think about technology as the next area in which tourism is going to need people and that you can help us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol Rose Brown, Director of the Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation. That was your parting nugget. Gentlemen, you have 30 seconds each to wrap it up, because I don't think we have any more questions from the floor. And we have another set of, well, one is an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur. We'll tell you about them when we get there, but we're going to get into another segment of the program. So, Conroy Thompson.
Of course. As Carl just mentioned, technology, embrace it. Embrace it because that's where it's going. However, because of Jamaica's tourism product, we also have to understand that we are the warmth of the world. So yes, the bartender on the cruise ship is all well and good, but when persons come here to this country, they are not expecting robots. They're expecting real-life people who are knowledgeable, who are confident, who are honest, and who are able to deliver world-class service. Jamaica has it already. We do. It is only for us now to own those skills and elevate. One of my motto, with quality in mind, do it right every single time. So because of that, you will always get it right. So that's my parting words for you today.
Thank you so much, Conroy. Floyd Birchall.
This is an exciting industry. It gives us an opportunity to show Jamaica that we are people who not only do we compete on the tracks, but we are able to compete in service, in quality, in excellence. And you are indeed the next generation that will show them that we are more than just reggae and sports, but we have depth, and we demonstrate that through tourism. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen and lady over there in Kingston. It has been insightful, and I so much want to thank you for being here this morning. I know we dragged you out of bed a little earlier than usual, but you know, it's so important for us to have this conversation as we look at the evolution of tourism and the role that we can play and the path that we can take as young people. There's a lot out there, lots of opportunities, it's wide open. And I'm going to leave with Floyd's hire the attitude, train the skill. We're talking about pride in Jamaica, we're talking about being caring, persons who have self-worth and good self-esteem, who are honest and are people of integrity. And that is what is going to make us soar. And we are indeed our greatest asset. That is me, you, the people. And of course, Conroy, for your part. I know you have been our ambassador, for example, as the Tourism Service Excellence Awardee, National Awardee, and you have really championed the message of excellent customer service, doing it every time. And I also want to thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to give a round of applause to the members of our first panel. And thank them once again for joining us. Now, the entertainment subsector is an important part of the tourism industry. The meetings, incentives, conventions, and events market is an exciting one. They call it MICE, the MICE market. It's an exciting one, and it calls on the talents of creatives to create a splash, or traditional folk forms, or dance, or poetry, or drama, singing, and music continue to warm the hearts of our residents and visitors alike. Reggae music, as you know, is known all over the world. And in 2019, the DJ Academy was birthed. And today we have someone is with us who is going to share a little bit. That DJ Academy is an initiative of the Tourism Linkages Network. It was rolled out then. And DJ Delano, you might have heard of him. He was instrumental in delivering the sessions then. And although COVID-19 visited and threatened the demise of the program, they managed to pivot to the virtual platform. And they offered the training free of cost through the JCTI Learning Management Portal. More than 50 local DJs from the tourism industry enhanced their skills and qualifications. And here to give us a little entertainment and share about his career as a DJ is DJ Alaric. Show him some love.
Good morning, everyone. As you know, as said, my name is Alaric, DJ Alaric. Most of you may know me as part of a duo, Alaric and Boyd. I've been playing music for the better part of 30 years. And for 15 of those years, I've been on radio on Fame FM. So currently, I am in the tourist industry playing at Margaritaville, which is one of the, what you call the amusement spaces in the tourist sector here in Montego Bay. And what I have to tell you, entertainment is a big part of the draw when it comes to tourism. You know, you can get the beaches and you have the different, the waterfalls and all of these things, but you can get that anywhere else. You can go to Costa Rica, Cuba, any of these other Caribbean countries and get that. What you can't get is the entertainment value and the entertainment product that we have here. The thing though, within the industry, just as how chefs have to be able to cook for a wide range of tastes, dishes for Europeans, Americans, Africans, all of that, the same thing exists in the DJ world inside the tourist industry. We have to be able to play a wide range of music. So what I'll be doing is giving a little demonstration of that, where I'll be playing music that will be, you will all know it, but is familiar to the foreign market as well, because that's what we have to do. As DJs inside the industry, we have to play that balance. So you're going to get dancehall, you're going to get Afrobeats, you're going to get soca, you're going to get pop, different genres all mixed in a way that hopefully it makes sense to you. Because this is how we have to play when we are playing for the tourists as well as Jamaicans in the same space. So let me start. Can I get a level, please?
And as we work out the technology here, we're going to invite those
Yes,
other
the technology.
panelists to take up their positions in the meantime.
You call me on the phone.
No stone.
Action.
Woman want good love. Now sympathize. Woman want good love every night.
DJ Alaric sorts that out, and our other panelists take up their position. Did a little research just to check on some of the institutions that have training in hospitality and tourism, and let me just share them with our youngsters who are here at this time so you know what's available outside of the HTMP program that Ms. Carol Rose Brown spoke about earlier on, and the other certifications that are being done through the JCTI. We have the Montego Bay Community College. We have the College of Agriculture, Science and Education. We have the Portmore Community College. And we also have University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, Moneague College. Moneague offers a Bachelor of Hospitality and Tourism Management and also an associate degree program. University of Technology, and I believe we have representatives from that institution here this morning. Knox Community College. We also have the Trenchtown Polytechnic College, Northern Caribbean University, Excelsior Community College, offering their associate degree or associate science degree in hospitality and tourism management and also a bachelor's. And we also have Western Hospitality Institute, offering a BSc in hospitality management, and they have programs like culinary chef management, hotel and restaurant management, food and beverage management, and the works. They also have a program which allows them to work with associates overseas, associate universities overseas, which is a great opportunity for our youngsters to study abroad. University of the West Indies, Bethlehem Moravian College, and not to be left out, the Heart Trust NTA, Hart College of Hospitality Services, offering things like front desk supervision, customer service engagement operations, food and beverage supervision, housekeeping, and the works. DJ Alric, you ready for me now? Run the track.
Stop playing with my mind.
Oh, man, no, in a joke when she will want the wine.
You call me on the phone.
I know what a talking angel come down.
And now I want you home.
I tell Jackie, girl, me nah use no stone.
Action.
At a bag of mood.
Sweet.
Now we made the girl them broke out.
Action.
At a bag of mood.
Sweet.
Now we made the girl them broke out.
Want you to know that I am the man who fight for the right and not the wrong. Saying this and saying that, going here and going there. Soon you will find out the man I'm supposed to be. I know this little girl, her name is Maxine. Her beauty's like a bunch of roses. If I ever tell you about Maxine, you older say I don't know what I know, but murder she wrote. Real. Murder she wrote. Murder she wrote. Murder she wrote.
Action with him, a pretty face and bad character. Them the kind of living can hold chaka. Follow me. A pretty face and bad character. Them the kind of living can hold chaka. Say, girl, you pretty, your face it pretty, but your character dirty. Girl, you just a act too flirty. You run to Tom Dick and also Harry. And when you find a shower remix, I know.
Waka waka baby, uru uru baby, corner baby. And I go tell my mama, and I go tell my papa, and I go tell am say, you be waka waka baby, you be chuku chuku baby. Baby sawale, sawa sawa sawale, sawa sawa sawale.
Love you, girl, do you feel the same? I don't wanna play games. No games. You're the only one that can count my flame. Baby, just play it straight. No games.
I need you in the morning, but I need you now. Yeah. I find you, I give you all you needing. I know what you like. I feel it coming. Time is of the essence. I try to teach you, but I need some lessons. I need to give it up.
Joanna, your busy body busy tonight. Mad. Joanna, making all the dummy tonight. Joanna, your busy body giving me life, oh, hey life, hey. Why you do me like Joanna, Joanna? Why you do me like Joanna, Joanna? How you gonna do me like Joanna, Joanna? Hey Joanna, Joanna. Ay. Hey, how you gonna play me like Drogba? How you gonna do me like Drogba? Oh, DJ Drogba. Hey, DJ Drogba.
Kugel. Let me tell them how the thing goes. How the thing goes. Okay, okay. Chevy make a tamuwa. Say my tukina go join God. You want to bamba? You wanna G with the big boys? Now you the wrong, kitty, you the wrong, get enough with drink with a drop cup. Hey, can you see how the thing goes? How the thing goes? Oh, you're telling me who blend you? And who? Alright, take it easy, and let's place it behind the weight. Okay.
Hello. Yeah. She had the thing I love. And where she from, I don't know. Rock she wears and go low. Pick up the place like a dojo. So what you say? Pretty girl, when you come my way. Now what you do? I must get through. Girl, roll up now, you show me that wine. Turn around, girl, don't be shy. Hello. Yeah. So girl, I love how the way you blow my mind. Hold me tight and bring down wine. Hello. Lord, hey. Are you ready? Are you ready for it? Are you ready? Are you ready for it?
Hey, party mash up again. Hey, girl them bubbling. Hey, bring all your friend them.
I'm sitting here and I'm bouncing to the music and I'm looking across at most of the students in the audience and they're like, I don't want my teacher to see me bouncing on the Facebook, you know. I don't want my teachers to see me on YouTube rocking a little bit. It's okay, you can rock a little bit, not a problem. Okay? Thank you very much, DJ Alaric. Just spinning a little bit for us and giving us a taste of what it's like to be a DJ. I'm going to send Floyd over to you because if you recall, he did say he aspires to be a DJ and a trailer driver in short. So Floyd, please talk to DJ Alaric before you leave. You applied to get into the DJ Academy? And you were turned down. Oh. Well, you can do private lessons, okay? All right. If you were just joining us online, welcome to Let's Talk Tourism, or Hybrid Youth Expo and Career Fair, being held under the theme Diversifying Skillsets for the Evolving Tourism Industry. Now, in this segment of our program, we have three beautiful ladies who will be sharing with us. First, we have Abigail Henry from the Tourism Awareness Unit of the Jamaica Tourist Board. The unit serves the JTB's mandate to sensitize all Jamaicans to the value and contribution of tourism to national development. This includes interfacing with tourism stakeholders across society and supporting activities of the tourism action clubs in schools. Let me see the hands of those persons who are members of the Tourism Action Club in your school. Okay, so we have a few. Make some noise, no man. And let's put our hands together and make Miss Henry welcome. Yes, I think so. Next, we have a proud 27-year-old apiculturalist. Apiculturalist. Am I correct? Apiculturist. Have to get it right. Farmer, and she's a mother. She's a first-year student at the College of Agriculture, Science and Education, CASE, and she's pursuing a degree in general agriculture. She's the Prime Minister's Youth Awardee in the category of Agriculture and Agro-Processing, the St. Elizabeth 4-H Champion Youth Farmer, and she's a brand ambassador for Newport First Sand Jamaica Limited. She's the owner and operator of the company St. Bess Golden Honey Drops. Please give her a warm round of applause. And our final panelist is Mrs. Marie Hall Smith. She is the CEO of the Face Place Salon, Spa, and Training Institute. An advocate of high international standards in the beauty therapy industry, she has impacted thousands of young Jamaicans who have become beauty therapy professionals locally, regionally, and internationally. She has expanded her mother's and her own vision to provide quality training to meet the demands of the skincare industry and to contribute to nation building. She gained independent school recognition from the Ministry of Education and Jamaica's first CEDISCO certification. She'll tell us what that's about later on. It's a short for a French name. And she has continually improved the quality of services delivered. A round of applause for Mrs. Marie Smith Hall, who's joining us from Kingston. And we're going to start off in this segment of the program with Abigail. Abigail has a little presentation for you, and I'm sure she wants to share with you. Go ahead, Abigail. Abigail has responsibility for all of the tourism action clubs across the island, and I'm hoping that the students that are here who do not have a club in their school will talk to her before you go today. All right, so over to you, Abigail.
Ooh. Thank you so much. That's right. I lead the Tourism Awareness Unit at the Jamaica Tourist Board, which interfaces with our local Jamaican population to highlight the impact of tourism and the opportunities that are available within the industry. Are you all hearing me? Are you hearing Abigail? We're not hearing Abigail, so can we?
Let's see if we can make some adjustments here. And Mr. Telly, prompter.
Are you hearing me? Very good. Okay, so I'll repeat. I lead the Tourism Awareness Unit at the Jamaica Tourist Board, and that interfaces with our local Jamaican population to highlight the impact of tourism and the opportunities that are available in the industry. So I may have met some of you, I've met some of your teachers, and if you don't have a tourism action club at your school, let's talk before you go, okay? So the work of the JTB is the global promotion and marketing of Destination Jamaica. We have offices in Kingston and in Montego Bay, as well as regional offices in the US, the UK, Canada, and Europe. We also establish and manage relationships with travel partners that operate air and sea travel to Jamaica, because the thing about living on an island, you have to fly or take a ship to come into the island. So we spend a lot of time getting to know the markets and the consumer groups that come to Jamaica. So my intention today is to share with you the major trends and the outlook for the industry based on what we know at the Jamaica Tourist Board, to highlight some of the areas for opportunities in tourism. Let's see if we are advancing. Okay, perfect. So coming out of the pandemic, things have changed, right? Over the past 2 years, we went from having our borders being closed completely, we were shut completely, and we were promoting domestic tourism. Then we went on to encouraging our local population to patronize our hotels and our attractions, and we're moving a bit too fast. Right, and slowly, we're cautiously reopening and allowing visitors along the resilient corridors. Now, tourism is expected to recover to pre-pandemic levels this year. So here is a figure for you. We've lost the presentation. Based on travel trends and insights, the outlook for 2022, based on our research and market intelligence, it's predicted that tourist arrivals could grow between 30 to 78% in 2022 compared to 2021. So that's a very big jump. It's a very big growth. After being in lockdown, we're separated from our friends, from our family. People are eager to travel. They want to have new and exciting experiences. And of course, there's all that pent-up demand, which bodes well for the continued growth of the industry. So, as activity is increasing, there's an increased demand for labor and personnel in the industry. So I want to frame by saying there is definitely opportunity out there for job seekers and entrepreneurs. So I'm going to highlight some areas of focus for JTB and how these trends impact the workforce and the job market. And the first thing is health and wellness tourism. And I'm not going to go too deeply into it, but just to give you an overview, in this new age of tourism, people will travel more responsibly and more consciously. If any of you traveled over the past couple of years, it was a different experience, right? You wore a mask, maybe you had on a face shield. I'm sure you were very careful to follow the different guidelines and protocols. Nobody wants to get sick. So a study carried out by Expedia found that the majority of people will select a destination known for strong COVID and safety protocols, and they'll be diligently following those protocols when they do travel. Our priorities in society have shifted towards valuing time, health, connection with others more. All those things were threatened during the pandemic. So health and wellness tourism includes, it really involves persons traveling from their places of residence for health reasons. And Mr. Burchell spoke about the connection between hospitality and looking after people. In this area, we're catering to tourists who visit Jamaica to do medical procedures, maybe at lower costs in their own countries. They also visit spas and wellness retreats. This could also include the production of naturally derived products, teas, herbal remedies, essential oils, all those things that we take for granted, people really value outside of Jamaica. So there is a linkage here with the agricultural and manufacturing industries and, of course, ecotourism. You may hear terms like the white economy that has to do with healthcare and its systems and its offshoots. In health and wellness tourism, there are opportunities for medical practitioners, doctors, nurses, spa operators, yoga instructors, chemists, therapists, entrepreneurs, even farm-to-table culinary experiences. All those things are wrapped up in health and wellness tourism. And research has shown that that particular area is growing at a high rate, health and wellness tourism. And what makes travel special is the experiences, creating memories, connecting with people and places, and people want to feel connected. The demand for romance tourism is strong, with growing interest in couples retreats, getaways. And of course, Jamaica is a lover's paradise. Everybody wants to come to Jamaica to go on their honeymoon, to have their wedding. So think about this, psychologists, relationship therapists, that's all included when we talk about health and wellness tourism. We want you to think really broadly about how you can get plugged into tourism. It's so much more than sea and sand and those career paths that kind of come to mind when you think tourism. It's so much more. We really want to connect your different career paths because all of those things come together to boost our tourism product and it propels our economy forward. Tourists want to connect with each other and they also want to connect with locals, with the culture of the destination. Another figure, a recent travel trends report carried out by American Express found that 81% of persons, 81%, indicated that they wanted to travel to destinations where they can immerse themselves in the local culture. That same 81%, they agree that they want to know that the money that they are spending is going back to the local communities. So visitors are looking for authenticity. And when it comes on to marketing, the Jamaica Tourist Board is looking at a kind of greatest hits approach. People want those iconic places, the bucket list experiences that you see on Instagram, those things that were all off limits during the pandemic, right? During the quarantine. Think of our natural environment. Think about our incredible culture, the things that you can only do in Jamaica. What does this mean for the workforce? Visitors want to connect. They want to connect with you. Mrs. Brown mentioned the shortage in the industry and the need to build up our workforce because we are expecting higher levels of traffic to some of these big attractions. Something else to consider is that visitors are concerned with ease of transportation and getting around the island as they move from these experiences, these attractions. And transportation and scarcity of rental cars is actually a global issue that's being reported on in different countries. People are increasingly interested in ride-share services like Lyft and Uber. Here in Jamaica, of course, we have our registered carriers. We have Judo and our licensed taxis. Reliability and safety are major factors. So as a travel destination, we have to think about these things. We have to pay attention to this area. The spontaneity and the autonomy that ride-share apps afford are desirable to tourists, right? What does this mean for the workforce? There's a need for drivers, there's a need for transportation workers, and there's also a significant entrepreneurial opportunity here, if you're thinking. I'll mention Minute Car Rentals that has recently been in the press. This is a growing business. They offer hourly car rentals, kind of like Zipcar, those things that exist in other countries, where you Jamaicans and visitors can rent a car for a minimum of 4 hours, and you move around from place to place and you get things done on the road. He started this business in 2018 with 2 vehicles. And now he has a fleet of 24. He's received funding from different organizations, including the Jamaica Stock Exchange. But here's just an example of somebody seeing an opportunity, a gap in the market, and acting on it. And of course, once you start up your business, once you get your entrepreneurial project underway, you're going to ensure that you register, sign up with TPDCO and with JTB and sort out the necessary licenses. And there are benefits to that because you get promotional endorsement from JTB. Now, a major, major, major trend that we have to talk about, tech in tourism. The pandemic changed the way we interact, the way that we consume goods and services. We've become accustomed to ordering food online, on our phones, services, we book appointments, we do our banking, we don't want to join lines to conduct business. We expect that you should be able to do that online. Why not? And this has translated over to tourism. Based on our research at JTB and other global studies, tech-empowered travel is essential. So for all you students interested in IT, consider cybersecurity, data analytics, artificial intelligence, in travel management. We're dealing with people's information. Who was the finance major, right? Don't leave out carbon accounting and the blend of tech and finance. This is all connected to tourism. With the emergence of the metaverse, virtual and augmented reality is increasingly gaining traction. Whenever people tend to drop the word metaverse, who knows what the metaverse is? You know what it is? The metaverse is a group of digital worlds that people can join, you can gather, you work, you play, you communicate through avatars. It's like a virtual, right? Virtual world, virtual reality. And of course, companies and countries are buying up digital land in the metaverse. And it's expected to be this new era of the internet, right? And you may think these things are a far way off, but we have to stay knowledgeable or we're going to get left behind. Ms. Brown earlier mentioned the robot bartender on the cruise ship. I've seen roaming security robots that remind you to put on your mask. They sense when you're not wearing your mask, and it says put your mask back on and social distance. It's not that far down the road. It's so important that we stay aware. Over the past couple of years, at JTB, tourism marketing has been totally transformed by the popularity and efficacy of influencer marketing. Any travel vloggers? Any influencers in here? I know you guys have YouTube pages and IGs. JTB continues to engage influencers as part of our marketing efforts to promote Destination Jamaica. And digital marketing is an essential part of our media mix. Don't leave out tourism marketing when you're considering your career options. JTB has a web community management team. We have digital specialists. We have many of whom are managers. All of those people engage audiences online. Also, most attractions, most hotels, resorts, they engage their audiences on digital platforms. So they would have need of persons trained in digital media, photography, writing. These skills and your ability to communicate and represent yourself and others is very important in this present age. And we at the JTB were also interested in working with young innovators who are focusing on tourism and tech. Last year, we launched a competition, Entrepreneurship and Innovation in Tourism, a pitch competition. And we had entrants pitch. They shared very innovative means of using technology to address pain points in the industry. And the solutions that they pitched dealt with security, transportation, virtual reality, shopping. So we are very much paying attention to the growth of tech-enabled tourism and using those platforms to develop solutions. Visitors increasingly want experiences to be tailored to them, and they're seeking out personalized expert guidance. Maybe it's the impact of social media. On TikTok, your For You page only shares things that it thinks that you would be interested in, right? Based on your activity. So I'm always getting recipes and viral food challenges on TikTok because I seem to look at a lot of food stuff on TikTok. We're used to always being given suggestions on things you might like this, you might enjoy things. What does this mean for tourism? You as a professional in the tourism industry, you need to be knowledgeable. You need to know about the different elements, the offerings of our tourism product so you can suggest, right? You can advertise. You do that by reading, by staying aware. Follow tourism-related content, both local and international, because we're a global village, on social media. Keep up with what's happening in the industry. And you don't have to outrightly be pursuing computer science or coding or software development, but you should know what the technological advancements are in your area, right? So if you're in cosmetology, if you're in culinary arts, if you're in, give me something else, medical tourism, you should know what's going on? What are the latest cutting edge developments? Mr. Thompson spoke about cross skills, right? And upskilling. It's important that you know about current trends and the next big thing. And of course, through your tourism action clubs, you can stay engaged, you can gain exposure through the different activities that are coordinated. And now the last point I will highlight is the increased infrastructure expansion in the industry. Over the past month, we've heard about a handful of hotel groups that have announced plans to build new accommodations. They want to expand. I know Sandals is opening new properties. Other groups have shared construction plans. The minister has indicated that we are expecting the creation of over 20,000 new jobs. Let that number sink in. Workers should be seeking out training and certification opportunities so you can be ready to fill these jobs, right? And we heard, in the previous panel, we heard about the options that are out there for certification. All those approved and accredited institutions that offer a variety of service areas. So get trained, get ready. You can visit our booth at the back for more info. And for those of us who are joining virtually, you can follow us on social media at TAC Jamaica, TAC Jamaica, and visit our website at visitjamaica.com. I want to share one more thing, and I don't want to take up too much time. Do I have time? Go ahead? Okay. So for those of you who may not be school leavers or still in school, if you're between the ages of 14 to 17, there is a public speaking competition coming up. Remember, I talked about the importance of being able to communicate and articulate your ideas. With JTV, we announced our 2022 public speaking competition, and our tourism action clubs are invited to select a representative to participate in this national competition. So the winner of this competition nationally will go on to represent Jamaica as our Junior Minister of Tourism at the Caribbean Tourism Organization, the Regional Youth Congress, in 2020, later on this year, about September. So your staff advisors already have the information. You can come speak to us at our display if you need more information. But I just want to remind you that this is on, and the deadline to register for the competition is April 2022. So all of you who are thinking about your future orators, you're interested in political science, here's another opportunity for you to kind of flex those skills. All right? And we encourage all our clubs to participate. So hopefully I've given you something to think about as it relates to how you will ready yourself for the emerging opportunities in the new age of tourism. It's very broad. And with the right attitude, you really can do what you set your mind to. It's not just the traditional jobs, it's not just mixing drinks, as Ms. Brown said. Really, whatever your pursuit is, you can connect it to tourism. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Abigail, from the Jamaica Tourist Board. Quite a bit to think about, all of these emerging careers and opportunities that are presenting themselves for our young people. Empowered tourism, tech-empowered tourism. All right, we're going to move along. I know we have a couple of questions that have come in online, and we're going to, I think one or two of them are for you, Abigail, but we're going to go to our guest presenter who is online at this time. And she is the owner of the Faceplace Spa, Salon, and Institute. We heard about her earlier on, and we met her on screen. She's Marie Hall-Smith. Let me bring her in here just to tell us a little bit about that side of the business, health and wellness tourism. Good morning. Welcome again.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. Would you like to start off by just sharing with us, in a nutshell, a little bit on your journey as an entrepreneur in the beauty business and how all of that relates to tourism?
Sure. I could relate so much to Mr. Thompson, Conroy Thompson, and what came to mind to me from his presentation was 3 Ps. The 3 Ps kept coming to mind, and that was purpose, passion, and perseverance. And when I think of my personal journey, like him, I can relate to, it's not where you start out, but it's where you end up. And I would like to say, and I always share with people that I took one of the true technical vocational routes to where I am today in pursuing a career in beauty therapy. And for the young people out there, what that means is I started, going to a traditional high school, and upon graduation at that time, in the 80s, the late 80s, when you graduated, you were, the options were, the traditional professions or learning to type. My father, who was an attorney at the time, says, well, you can help me in my office. You can learn to type. Computers weren't really that, we didn't have laptops or anything then. We had a big PC. So he said, you can learn to type. And then my mother, who was already in the industry and already had established herself from 1973, says, I think you should join this industry, the beauty industry. So, of course, I ran straight into typing. And after the first week of being in secretarial school, I didn't get past the middle bars of the computer, which is the AS, DF, GH, JK. I said, no, this is not for me. So I joined the first cohort of the Faith-Placed Institute students in 1989. And from then I found it so rewarding in terms of my career choices. After completing that program, went off to university in the United States, and I was awarded a degree in marketing. But all the time, while I was, going to university, I worked part-time. So I attended school part-time and worked part-time as an esthetician. I returned to Jamaica in the mid-90s, mid to late 90s, and began a career in marketing and sales, and it took me on the road and all across the length and breadth of Jamaica. And then I came back to, what I was most comfortable with, what I felt I was passionate about, and that was, serving in the industry and serving as a therapist, doing what was second nature to me. But at this time, I pivoted into taking it more seriously and looking at it really as a career path and not just as something that I could do well and enjoy doing on friends and family. Yes, I worked in the United States in a spa and salon. I was licensed there, but it came so easy to me that I said, your career can't be just about doing what you absolutely love. If you go to work every day and you never have to think about it as a job, does that really count for something? And it absolutely did. To this day, I still find joy and pleasure in going to work every single day and doing what I love. My career has been, long. I've been in the business, over 20 years. And I must say that's where I started. But doing the technical vocational route while really, learning the skill and all of its trends and changes over the different decades, but still remaining relevant in terms of my academics, has really propelled me, I believe, to a very satisfying career in the industry. I am not hearing you.
Oh, are you hearing me now? Yes, is that
Yes.
better? Okay. My question was, how important do you believe health and wellness will be when our visitors must choose a vacation destination?
Well, health and wellness is going to be very critical because, as was just alluded to, the metaverse, this is what millennials are faced with now, and understanding, and the next generation of our visitors. The metaverse is a virtual space, but human touch, interaction, our, cultural uniqueness in terms of our people, our environment, is going to be very critical and important to a traveler's choice in travel, because traveling is going to really have to be determined with those critical factors, because you can travel in the metaverse without leaving your room, without leaving your space, without taking flight. So choice in terms of destination is going to really rely on, the capabilities of health and wellness and human interaction to be able to meet the needs of those travelers.
I want to go back a little bit, because in my introduction earlier, I mentioned that you were approved for the CIDESCO certification. What exactly is that, and what can it lead to in terms of careers in tourism?
All right, CIDESCO is the world-leading accredited organization in beauty therapy. So they establish global standards for certification in beauty therapy. And what this means is that their certificate goes across all borders internationally. And so the Faceplace Institute is the first training school, CIDESCO training school in Jamaica. And I thought this was necessary after COVID, or during COVID, when, you know, worldwide the industry was put on pause. And I'm speaking of the beauty industry. All industries were put on pause, but the beauty industry especially. And having, you know, established training in Jamaica since 1989 and adhering to national standards, I thought it was prudent that we also meet and adhere to international standards and best practice for, you know, our prospective students post-pandemic who wanted to really find and secure a space in this marketplace, the Jamaican landscape, for offering quality service based on their certification, as well as if they chose to go out overseas, like many of our learners do. We go overseas. So Jamaica has always exported great, skilled, trained professionals in the area of beauty therapy. But with the opportunity of all the hotels opening and all of what is prospected, all of the prospects in terms of growth in the industry, I believe it was very important for our students and our learners to have the requisite skills and abilities to meet these, you know, international requirements from our visitors.
You are here with us at the Montego Bay Convention Center, and we have many more online that are listening in. What would you say, just to sort of concretize it, what careers would be available to these young people who are perhaps contemplating careers in health and wellness, which is the larger picture, and the beauty industry is a subsector?
Okay, so in the beauty industry as a subsector, there are careers that would exist, for example, in customer service and relations. There's careers that exist in spa management. There are careers that exist in body therapy. There's careers that exist in aesthetics. These are all subsets, which are professions in their own of the general beauty therapy. So there is a real, you know, and again, as Mr. Thompson has said, cross-skilling, upskilling, these are the opportunities afforded to anyone in this industry. We have had learners who worked in the accounting department, and because of, you know, personal passion, they have crossed over in hospitality to beauty, to areas in the spa and wellness subsector of hospitality. So there is a lot of room for growth. There's a lot of opportunities in terms of career choice and path, even if you're in the sector and want to cross-skill or upskill.
You know, Jamaica is known for its natural spas, and we're told that the radioactivity level in places like Bath and Milk River are way up there, comparable to any of the wonderful spas across the world. When you think of that, how do you put it in the context of these things, for example, being a competitive advantage of our island home?
Well, those are the specific things in our island that make us very unique. Those are the things that tourists and guests look for in choosing a destination that's based on wellness. And this extends to the community. So the opportunity for community-based tourism, for example, in Milk River and Bath, you know, even some places in Ocho Rios where people will go up to the Blue Hole. These are opportunities where people in that community and those communities can take advantage of all of the training through JCTI and through other private organizations to develop and build and bolster an experience for our visitors that would be representative of our culture, our flora and our fauna. Because as you know, the young lady before me had said, people want to experience authenticity in their vacation. And that is the best way through, you know, community-based tourism initiatives, such as, you know, the wonderful wonders that our country has.
Thank you so much, Marie Hall Smith. We are moving along because we are pressed for time. And you mentioned community tourism. It's a good point at which to segue to talk to our Prime Minister's awardee in agriculture and agro-processing, who is a very interesting young lady. Katisha Allen, young farmer, student, awardee of excellence. How are you? I don't think we're hearing you though. Could we make sure her microphone is on? Katisha, can you hear me? All right, you say something. Let me see if I can hear you. No, I'm not hearing you. Borrow that microphone from Abigail, please. All right, that's better. How are you? Tell me a little bit, when and where did your journey begin in agriculture?
Yes, thank you for having me. So my journey into agriculture started in 2016 in St. Elizabeth. So it was after giving birth to my child. I wanted to be a stay-home mom so I can nurture my child, but I also wanted to provide for my family financially. So I just didn't want to stay home doing nothing. So that's when I decided to plant something. So I planted about 2 squares of pumpkin, and the yield that I received from that, and to see who I could supply my pumpkins to, that really motivated me to expand my operation more into agriculture. All right, so starting with 2 squares back then, fast track to 2022, now I operate on over 6 acres of land.
From 2 squares?
Right, so now I plant sweet potatoes, pineapples, pumpkins, corn, and sweet peppers. I also venture into apiculture, which is beekeeping, which is a very interesting venture, and I started that in 2018.
How has that been going? I think you established a company. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes,
that
it is really good to see a female, especially a young female, into beekeeping. It amazes a lot of persons. So my company is St. Best Golden Honey Job. It's all about the products of the bees. So it is a company that I do harvesting of honey and sales of honey, and I just received training also to do byproducts of honey. So now I'm looking to expand into face creams, hand creams, lip balms, and all of that. So that's a big thing coming up for my company.
Wow. How important is it for us to make that connection with agriculture and tourism? A lot of persons don't necessarily see the connection and how one feeds into the other, that symbiotic relationship.
So agriculture is very important to tourism, so there is a link there. So because when we think about our tourists coming into our island, what they mostly think about is our food. So they are very interested in our food, and as a small farmer, to provide for those tourists, it is really important. It not only provides a revenue for me as a small farmer, it benefits my community, because when I expand more to provide for the demands of these tourists, it also helps the country as well, because it will increase the amount of money those tourists spend for the country.
Right, and you're now talking about creating employment and improving livelihoods.
Yes, because I create a lot of employment in my community, so the more I expand, the more persons I can employ.
What motivates you? What do you, I mean, you're a young, pretty girl, and you're there in the St. Elizabeth doing agriculture, supplying your thing, making your money, and enjoying it, and now taking another step to go to study at Case to get a degree in general agriculture.
All right, so what motivated me first in the outset, I wanted to provide for my family financially. Mm-hmm. And when I go on my farm and to see things that grows from seedlings to fruits and the yield that I receive, the joy that it puts on many persons' face when they are employed on my farm, it really encouraged me to continue more. So even when I go to my apiaries to check on my bees and I see how amazing they are, especially with nature, you'll go today and they're doing perfectly fine, and next week you'll go back and you see that honey, and especially when you see that golden honey running out, especially during harvesting season, it really motivates me to continue on the journey of agriculture.
And what advice do you give to our young people who are here at the Montego Bay Convention Center and online listening to us at this time? What do you say
I would
to them?
encourage a lot of young persons, get into agriculture, get into tourism, because agriculture and tourism have a great link. Earlier, you heard about a lot of trainings that are available, that are certification. Just to tell you, when I started out at about age 16, I didn't want to go into agriculture. I wanted to be in the tourism sector directly. So when I leave high school, I go ahead and get certified to become a chef. I also did a diploma in becoming a chef, but it was after giving birth that I made that shift. But the shift that I made also contributed to tourism. So I'd encourage young persons to dream big, overcome the obstacles, and get involved.
Wow. Thank you so much. We are opening up the floor for questions, for comments. We want to hear from you. We don't want you to come, as my granny would say, come like a dumpling and leave like a Johnny cake. Right? I want you to have the information. Any question that you may have for either Katisha Allen or Young Farmer or Prime Minister's awardee for agriculture and or CEO of the Face Place. I think there's a question coming. All right, go ahead.
Yes. Sorry. There's a question from YouTube. Oral Lawson is asking, how can Marcus Garvey Technical become more of a stakeholder in the tourism industry? What avenues or options do we have to explore?
You may want to borrow the microphone. Yes, go ahead.
Yes? Okay. Yes, Mr. Lawson, Marcus Garvey Technical recently relaunched their Tourism Action Club, and I know you have a vibrant group of young people. So they are really going down the right path, being connected to us at Jamaica Tourist Board, getting plugged into the different activities that we have going on for our Tourism Action Clubs. I know, Mr. Lawson, that you're preparing the students for the participation in the pitch competition. And really the answer I can give to that question is just to continue being keyed in to what we are doing, to what TPDCO is doing, and being a part of events like this and the other activities that we do have going on. For the past couple of years, some of the competitions were on pause because of the pandemic. So we're very excited to have this public speaking competition and the Caribbean Tourism Organization Regional Youth Congress happening again. So those are all outlets that all the schools can continue to be engaged.
All right. Thank you very much, Abigail. Do we have any questions from anybody in the room? Yes, we do. Just make your way to the microphone and we'll take your questions, and you can just say who you want to answer your question.
Good afternoon. Jennifer Thompson, Montego Bay Community College. Just speaking directly to the students who are here and the students who are online, that the industry that you are considering to go in, it's a very interesting industry. And regardless of what the passion is that you have, you can make an impact. Listening to all the presenters from early this morning and the lovely ladies today, this afternoon, regardless of what it is that you are interested in, whether it's photography, whether it's travel writing, you're into social media, all right, that's an opportunity for you to be an influencer. You're able to sell the product, sell what it is that you find that is a niche market here in Jamaica. I want you to also consider that what they're talking about for health and wellness, spa and salon management, agriculture, agro-processing, hospitality, we offer all of that at Montego Bay Community College. Okay, we are open for business. If you have any questions, feel free to speak to us. And we have a booth at the back. Please inquire, find out what we have to offer, and make your contribution to tourism and to Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, questions, young people. Go right ahead.
My question now is, do I have to have a registered business to be linked to tourism? Because I realize that my young farmer, I was just smiling, a farmer in white, I was smiling. But I'm asking a question because during the COVID time, I launched my poultry business. And I'm doing eggs now and meat. And I'm not yet registered because I just start out as a second supplementary income. What I'm asking you, if I want to supply, say, a hotel with 500, 600 pounds of chicken, do I have to be a registered business, licensed and registered because I'm doing it in Novo, do I have to be licensed and registered to get the linkage to sell my poultry to the hotels?
My answer to that would be yes. My answer to that question would be yes. You want to be a registered business. And the thing is, when you're a registered, legitimate business, there are other avenues that you can benefit from. So for example, we at TPDCO, we do assessments of different tourism entities for the Jamaica Tourist Board. And when the assessment is done, whether it is for health and safety, for security, all of the different criteria, once that is done and the JTB has licensed, for example, let's say a small bed and breakfast, they benefit greatly from the marketing support that the JTB is able to provide them.
Okay, so my question now, is there an entity at the Jamaica Tourist Board or TPDCO that assists young entrepreneurs to get their license so they can go on and start? Is there a section in the industry that say, okay, here is a young farmer, here's a young YouTuber, here is a vlogger or a blogger. But what can we do to help this person to be registered so they can be part of this new thing that is being pushed?
There is a present program that is running. It's a collaboration between the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and the Tourism Product Development Company is the tourism arm of that particular program, and the Rural Agricultural Development Authority is the other arm of that program. So one speaks to the tourism entities and the other speaks to agricultural entities. I'm not sure if you would have missed that boat because I know that program is up and running now, but it is really to help small, medium, even micro enterprises to get assistance, whether it is technical or financial, to help to build and to grow their businesses. I know COVID would have probably put a little damper, but I know they're back at the drawing board and that program continues. There's also help available through the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. So talk with me after and I can perhaps share with you some information on the READY program, that's Rural Economic Development Initiative program, which is a program spearheaded by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, but which relies on a collaboration between the Rural Agricultural Development Authority for persons who are in the agricultural sector and the TPDCO for persons who are in the tourism sector. All right? Hope that helps. Your question, Mr. Cornwall.
Yes, I am just in awe of the amazing stories that I've heard today. I'd like to personally extend a great thank you on behalf of all these people here for dedicating your time to us and sharing your information. We're greatly appreciative of it. Seeing that all the panelists here are women, I thought to myself, was there any time coming into the industry that you were not appreciated or not taken seriously? Was there ever an issue breaking out in the industry? Tourism, that is.
I think that question would be for Katisha. Is there ever a time when you were not taken seriously when you said you were going to get into agriculture?
Well, at one point in time, because when I was going into the beekeeping industry especially, I started with one hive of bees. And for a young female to be going into that industry, persons would laugh and think I am not serious. Because I was determined, so I had a goal in mind. I set boundaries. I've set standards, what I want to achieve. So upon receiving the Prime Minister Youth Award, a lot of persons did not know what I have achieved from then, because you know the bees are always in the bushes, so a lot of persons don't know. So going into it, a lot of persons would laugh, and especially as a female. I remember one point in time, I got so many stings that I was swollen. So they would laugh and say, why the bee sting on your thing, you to swell up. So at that point, even the stings motivated me to continue because, as I said, I know what I wanted and I have a goal in mind.
And one of the things that I perhaps need to also mention, remember she's a champion 4-H'er from St. Elizabeth, you know. And 4-H, having been a part of 4-H myself for many, many years, I know that that is an organization that helps to build not just agriculturally related skills, but life skills and character. So again, I think that would have been a plus for you, which would have kept you motivated and achieving. What are your plans for the future? You think you're going to be getting into some value-added stuff from the honey?
Yes, definitely, definitely.
And that would call for things like research and development and all of that. And I know, for example, Mrs. Hall-Smith would have to deal as part of the linkages, the health, what is the correct term, Mrs. Hall-Smith? The tourism linkages, health and wellness network.
Health and Wellness Linkages Committee.
Yes. Being a part of that.
Health and Wellness Linkages Committee.
Being a part of that, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of youngsters who are coming forward with all kinds of products using our local herbs and spices, and you know, they're making masks from coffee grounds and aloe vera and all kinds of things, guinea hen weed, and you know, just using our local natural products. And that's another avenue which feeds directly into the beauty therapy industry and by extension into the tourism industry. Do we have any other questions? Do we have any questions online, Catherine? While we're looking at the questions, I said I wanted to give away some stuff, and I still want to do that. I asked earlier on who was the executive director of the tourism product development company, and I still haven't gotten a response. But I also want to ask, what is the name of TPDCO's flagship training program? Does anybody know the name of TPDCO's flagship training program? And what is the slogan for Destination Jamaica? Does anybody in the room know the slogan that we're being marketed with now? Because, you know, we've changed over the years. Anybody in the room? When the JTB goes to the international market and they say, come to Jamaica. At one time they used to say, come to Jamaica and feel all right. And at one time they used to say, once you go, you know. But what is the slogan that is used now? Anybody can tell me? I'm not going to give you this lovely bag because it's the only one I have left. But I have a prize for you in the back. Anybody? Go ahead with your question, son.
All right, good afternoon. I think it's afternoon.
No, it isn't.
Oh, it's still morning?
Yes, it's still morning.
All right,
we end at afternoon.
So my question is for the lovely lady in the middle. I forgot her name.
Abigail.
Abigail. All right, so I know that there are some schools without the Tourism Action Club. So, you know, I wanted to give them an idea of some of the activities that as a club we embark in.
So before she answers that question, how you have so many things on your lapel, on your chest? You have 50 badges there, man.
You know, I'm very active, so.
Wow. So now you want to hear about the Tourism Action Club?
I'm a part of the Tourism Action Club, but I just want her to tell other schools who do not have the Tourism Action Club, you know, some of the activities that we embark in.
Speak up a little bit.
Okay, I'm going to try. Okay, here we go. So the Tourism Action Club is really, as its name suggests, getting plugged into and becoming active in tourism. So, you're Cornwall College?
Yes.
Right, okay. So for the past couple of years with the pandemic and the closure of schools, and we're not doing face-to-face schools, I realized that there is a group of students who are a little bit disconnected. We're now moving across, reconnecting with our clubs, getting reestablished. There are several activities, a schedule of events that generally take place on a yearly basis. Several competitions. So far, we have concluded our Entrepreneurship and Innovation in Tourism competitions that ended earlier in the year. We've announced our 2022 public speaking competition, which will take place from April and conclude with the Caribbean Tourism Caribbean Tourism Organization Regional Youth Congress later in the year. Throughout the year, also, different clubs at the different schools can organize their own activities. Sometimes they take part in beach cleanups, bake sales. We had the club at Dunoon Technical. Hi, Miss Douglas at Dunoon. For Christmas, they took on a food drive, a charity drive. It's really up to the different clubs how they want to get plugged in. And of course, they reach out to us at the Jamaica Tourist Board for support. So if it is that you need help with getting in touch with maybe some of our tourism industry partners, you want to go and visit a hotel, you want to organize a beach cleanup, we also assist with making sure you get your badges, making sure you can conduct your induction ceremonies. We were recently with the group at Monroe at their Tourism Awareness Day and Career Day. So there, I mean, really just a wide range of activities. But if you are interested in establishing a tourism action club, please come talk to us at the back. We are in the process of getting reconnected with our school community. And thank you for that question. You give me an opportunity to talk about that.
And I do know that we have a lovely induction ceremony, so it's great to be a part of the Tourism Action Club.
Very good.
Thank you.
And hold on to your chest, you hear? Because with all of that breastplate that I see going on there, come to the microphone and go ahead with your question. We have 2 persons coming. Come along, come along, come along. Time is running out. Come along. Any answers to my question? Or you have the answer? Which one?
Slogan is Jamaica, the heartbeat of the world.
Okay, heartbeat of the world. She's correct. So no clap her no more. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Boo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Heartbeat of the world. Go ahead, sir.
Good morning. I was just wondering if there are plans in place to just educate the general populace about the benefits of being in TPDCO. I know that you have it in schools based on what I've heard here, but like persons that may be out of school at the moment and are looking for opportunities, are there any plans to reach those persons? And what advice do you have for persons that want to set themselves apart? Because I imagine a lot of persons will be trying to get in. How do you set yourself apart as a business or as a company so that you can become more attractive and more successful?
Well, I'm going to allow Abigail to take the first part of the question, which has to do with the awareness and what it is that we are doing to sensitize Jamaicans on a whole. I believe a lot of work is being done in that area, even as we emerge from the pandemic. Correct. But that, yes, more can be done. So, yes. Abigail, what's
So you're asking about awareness and raising the profile, highlighting to persons who are no longer in school.
Correct.
Right. So the tourism action clubs, you're quite right, are for secondary and tertiary level schools. Now that we are coming out of the pandemic and we can gather again, we are very much turning our attention to having more forums, having more opportunities to engage with the different stakeholders at the community level in particular. I know a focus of ours for this year is community tourism, persons with an interest in entrepreneurship. I mentioned tech, also persons with disability, persons in the industry. So yes, we do have things coming, and you do have to be a little patient with us. We've been in the pandemic, and now as things open up, we're looking forward to reconnecting with you. But please don't leave before you have a chat with us at the booth.
Or TPDCO also has a business development unit, and through that business development unit, which is part of our product development and community tourism department, we assist persons at the community level. We work with clusters, and so we try to go into communities, we look at the assets that they have, we look at the interests that they have, and we try to channel different supportive groups. So for example, you may go into a community and there is a cave experience, and somebody else has some transportation, and somebody else has a little gastronomy thing, a little cooking thing that they can do. Maybe it's a farm to table experience, whatever it is. But we at TPDCO do that kind of work, and in terms of our public awareness, we have some specific products. One of them would have been our tourism summer intern program. We've not had it in the last 2 years because of the pandemic, but we have placed thousands and thousands of young people in various tourism entities across the island in all our resorts to give them an opportunity to be immersed in the industry, to see the workings of the industry, to get an experience, and to be able to take a decision from up close as to whether this is something that they want to do. Some of the properties will have them going around from one department to the next, so they get a little feel for everything. And we also have, for example, our national tourism quiz for students in the primary level. And that's an opportunity to share tourism information with even the youngsters who are themselves able to go home and share that information with their families, their parents, and so forth. So there are lots of different products, and it's work in progress. And as we emerge from this pandemic, I'm sure that the activities will pick up and will be expanded, so. Let me hear from somebody else in the back. We have 3 young men lined up, so come quickly, since time is now of the essence. And I still haven't had an answer to my question, who's the executive director of TPDCO. I haven't had an answer to my question, what is the flagship training program at TPDCO called? And I wanted to ask Mrs. Hall Smith, I almost said Smith Hall, Hall Smith, what would be the requirements to pursue the beauty therapy program that she spoke about earlier on. So Ms. Marie, please be on standby with an answer to that question as we hear from our youngsters at the microphone.
Right, so good morning everyone. I am Curtis Glennon from Cornell College. To your question of who the executive director is she Georgia Robinson?
No, Georgia Robinson is our director of corporate services, not our executive director. But she acted for a short stint.
Oh, okay.
So you're not too far. You're another one with the breastplate of badges. Oh my goodness.
Okay, man.
All right, so you're not quite correct. Come along.
A pleasant afternoon.
And a pleasant good morning to you.
Oh, morning. Yes, morning. I am Xavier McFarlane. I am the president of the Tourism Action Club at Cornell College.
Woot, woot.
So,
make some noise for him, no man.
I would like to know if there are scholarship opportunities for members, active members of the club, and how do those members go by getting such an opportunity?
Are you hearing me? Okay. I know that the clubs are interested in the scholarships, in the internship opportunities that have been offered in the past. Now that we are back in person, we're finally coming back in person and seeing you guys and getting to talk to you face to face. We are reviewing, we did used to have scholarships, several scholarships, as well as internship opportunities. So we haven't forgotten about them. The JTB is in the process of reevaluating now and seeing how many opportunities we can offer, what kind of internship opportunities we can extend. And don't worry, you'll be hearing about some stuff soon.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next.
Okay, pleasant morning. I'm Jordan Forrester and I am the activities coordinator at Cornwall College's Tourism Action Club.
Oh, I love this.
Okay, the question I have is regarding what Miss Rose Brown said earlier and also what Miss Abigail stated about the type of technology that will be implemented in the tourism sector. For example, the robot bartender that was on the cruise ship. Okay, so my question is about, will that not take the jobs of, humans in the tourism section and also take away from some of the fun? Like, for example, when a tourist comes to the bar, you might want to have a conversation with the bartender and probably ask him to recommend some spots in Jamaica, recommend some beverages for them, the sort of stuff that you can't necessarily do with a robot.
I think Conroy, you alluded to that earlier on, yes? But go ahead, Abigail.
That's a good point. And 2 things. Number 1, don't let me forget, you mentioned about robots taking humans' jobs, and what about the human interaction? It's an interesting debate that we continue to have, right? When you go to a hotel now, do they hand you a key or do they hand you a card? They hand you a card, right? Because what about the key makers? Things change. And I'm not saying it's good or it's bad, but we do have to learn to adapt. And another thing to consider is you mentioned, what about interacting with a human being and saying, hey, if you like Dunn's River, you can try X, you can try Dolphin Cove, it's not too far. I agree. And something that we need to think about is, I mentioned TikTok and your For You page, it's not people, it's artificial intelligence that is in the algorithm and is realizing that based on your activity, you're more likely to like this. So it is something that we have to be aware about, that the times are changing and those changes are going to come. But I agree that you're right, that one of our presenters mentioned that they come here for the people, the warmth, interacting with people. So that is something that I do not believe that we're going to get to the point, for now at least, where we have a hotel that's totally run by robots, because people come to Jamaica for the people. We're the heartbeat of the world, the warmth. People all over the world know Jamaica. They know our language, they know our music. You'd be shocked. People from far from places think Jamaica is just paradise. It's where they want to be, and it's the people that make it that way, right? So I agree with you that yes, things are likely going to change and some jobs will disappear, not just in the tourism sector. Jobs have disappeared and they will continue to change as technology moves. And some of it will be to our benefit. So we just have to learn to move with technology. But I believe that you are quite right, that the warmth of the people, the human factor, is just key.
Thank you so much. We have one final question from the floor, and then I'm going to give 30 seconds to each of our panelists to give us their parting shot.
Pleasant afternoon to you all. It is not a question, just to answer the question you asked previous.
Yes.
The executive director for TPDCO is Mr. Wade Mars.
What can I tell you? She's right. You are indeed correct. Congratulations. Not too sure what you've won for yourself, but I do know that we have some lovely prizes in the back, and we're happy to share that with you. And just before we wrap up, let me go back to our lovely lady from St. Elizabeth, who's going to just give us her parting words as we get out of here for this morning. Katisha Allen.
So when we think about agriculture again and we think about our tourists, when tourists comes here, they think about the spices, the flavor of our food. So farmers play a very important role. And I just want to encourage farmers, especially young farmers, to get on board, step up your game so we can satisfy the demand of our tourist industry.
Thank you so much. Well said. And Marie Hall-Smith is online. She's at the Face Place Institute over there in Kingston. Your final words for us this morning, and of course in that parting shot, just tell us the general requirements to pursue a degree, a certification in beauty therapy.
Okay, to pursue a certification in beauty therapy or any of the professional units that come under the general umbrella of beauty therapy, you would have to be a high school leaver holding a certificate or diploma from some secondary institute, or if you are a career changer or you want to cross skill, you would have to, present, your pretty much numeracy and literacy competence. And then we take it from there. My parting words with the audience of lovely, bright gentlemen and ladies is identify, your purpose. Pursue with passion and persevere. Once you encompass those 3 P's in your path to professionalism, you can only be successful. So I just want to share that with you and wish you all continued success, and thank you for the opportunity for being here. Always remember, your career depends on the school you choose.
Thank you. And it's more like 5 P's, your path to professionalism. Make sure you have a purpose, passion, and make sure you persevere. Thank you so much, Mrs. Marie Hall-Smith, CEO of the Face Space Spa, Salon, and Training Institute. And you get the last word, Madame Abigail Henry from the JTB.
Okay, my final words are to you to think broadly about tourism, to think about what it is that you like to do, what you are good at, what your niche is, and see how you can plug in to this very broad industry. Look for the gaps and the opportunities in the industry and capitalize upon them, right? It doesn't matter if somebody is already doing it. You can learn from what has been done before and make a space for yourself. I hope that I've gotten you to think broadly about tourism.
Thank you so much. And because I don't want to go away with all of the goodies that I brought here this morning, I'm going to ask 2 other questions. I believe they're easy questions and you should be able to answer them. In fact, we said this one time and time over earlier on in our program. What does the acronym JCTI stand for? Okay, go ahead, answer at the microphone. What does the acronym JCTI stand for?
More. It stands for Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation.
All right, give him a round of applause. And is there anybody who's going to tell me the name of TPDCO's flagship training program? Go right ahead to the microphone, go on. Oh, you have the same answer to the same question? Okay, so you're on your phone, you have data, good. Good for you. Go ahead.
Good morning.
It's Team Jamaica. Yes, take me advice, make we country nice. Join Team Jamaica. I hope Renee is making a note of the winners so that we can share these prizes. And now we have our vote of thanks, yes? I'm not so sure who has been asked to do that job, but Xavier McFarlane. Xavier, can you just go to the microphone and do the honors for us as we wrap it up from our tourism talk this morning? Diversifying our skill sets for this evolving tourism industry. Go ahead, Xavier, over to you.
Good afternoon. It's afternoon now, I got it right. Okay, so I was called on behalf of the TPDCO to say thanks to the participating schools who came out today. The participants on the virtual platforms, Mr. Conroy Thompson of Round Hill Hotel and Villas, Floyd Burchell of Couples Resort, Coral Rose Brown of Jamaica Center of Tourism Innovation, Abigail Henry of the Jamaica Tourist Board, Marie Hall Smith of the Face Place, Katisha Allen of St. Bess Golden Honey Drops, Jamaica Information Service, team led by Tashawn Hewitt Stennett, Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, DJ Alric for the entertainment, Montego Bay Convention Center, the members of the media, and other service providers. Boundless thanks.
And thank you so much, Xavier, for thanking all of us. One final question before we go, and if I'm in Montego Bay and I ask this question and I do not get an answer, me I go vex. You hear me? I'm going to be very upset if you don't answer this one. Which resort area is known as the tourist capital of Jamaica? So can somebody go to the microphone, because I can't give 7 prizes.
And again, it's Montego Bay.
Montego Bay. Also marketed as the complete resort. All right, so it's the tourist capital of Jamaica and marketed as the complete resort. Ladies and gentlemen, students, those that are with us and those that are online, it has been our pleasure. And I want to thank my team from TPDCO. We have our social media officer, Ms. Oshin Wong, who is on location, Catherine Maxfield, Renee Johnson, and I have somebody who's also interning with us, Shimon, where are you? Shimon Gordon, she's in the back, and they were my support team today. I want to thank them wholeheartedly for being with us, and I certainly hope you learned something, and that the information that you have gotten here this morning is something that you can process, think about, act upon, and if you think that this is an industry for you, that you'll jump right in with passion, with purpose, and with perseverance, as Ms. Smith-Hall said earlier on. Thanks for being with us. God bless you. And hey, we'll do this again. Maybe another time. We'll talk tourism. DJ Alaric, run the track.
Still we irie, come in all of life.
Refreshments are on the outside. We have a survey for you.
Still we irie, come in all of life. No, so every time I rise, we do it for the love, we not do it for the lights. Do it for the love, we not do it for the lights. Do it for the love, we not do it for the lights. Do it for the love, we not do it for the lights. Make them know success don't come overnight. Make them know a substance over hype. Do it for the love, we not do it for the light. Enough of them love lights, that don't right. Sit down on a post and a tweet all night. See them on social media type. While like said them they a studio a vice. Oh, me never put them up on no flight. And me never see them a live no tour life. You miss someone now you have so much likes. I'm always still a lead for iTunes. Simple mean we not ready yet. If we put the music first, that's all. While we there on a war and a hype. Free work, dance all. When you see me, yes, and I see I. And every tune when me ever write. And every show where we headline. No, we not do it for the likes.
Where will we go? When the quarantine thing done and everybody touch road. Mommy, me gonna start, pull up in a fast car, yeah. And a fast start, make you want the passport, yeah. I know you're feeling me, you know I'm feeling you. So what now we feel do, yeah. Hey fancy, oh your heart state, now no vacancy. Last time see up on FaceTime, chatting up the place, bout in on my relationship. Me I go put you on lockdown, I put your body on